Good morning, everybody. Kai Waza with you. I hope everybody's doing well today. We are looking at my Hawaiian record collection. We're in the letter H, and today we're actually up to a very important group, the Hawaii Calls Orchestra and Chorus. So let me tell you just a little teeny bit about them before I show you their records. The Hawaii Calls was a radio program that was broadcast at its peak worldwide. It started in the very late 1930s and went through 1975, really peaking in like the 50s and 60s. It was broadcast through to various radio stations all over the world, and it was headed by a gentleman called Webley who was originally from Oregon, came to Hawaii and was very enamored with the music, had a lifelong love of the music of Hawaii, and assembled the musicians for the radio broadcasts. And because of the radio broadcasts and many of the records which were released on Capitol Records, which was a national label, many Hawaiian artists of that time period became pretty well known throughout the world. People like Alfred Apaka, Haunani Kahalewai, Pua Almeida, and several others were all featured on Hawaii Calls albums and then had albums of their own. But today we're just looking at Hawaii Calls. So let's take a look at some of these very iconic and very famous albums that came out in what is often called the golden age of Hawaiian music. So I believe, I don't have these albums in the exact order of their release date because I don't exactly know it on all of them, but it's kind of somewhat in order of the early, the middle, and the later period. I think this might be the first one or the second one, I'm not sure. Webley presents Hawaii Calls with Al Kealoha Perry, who I think is musical director, right? Anyway, they start out doing a lot of the standard well-known songs, Hawaiian Wedding Song and Lovely Hula Girl, Song of the Islands, etc. What's interesting about this album is I've actually seen, I have this on 10-inch, and I also have seen, I don't own it, but I have seen copies of this album that have exactly the same cover, except a different woman here. There's like a different woman, but it's exactly the same. Really strange. I don't know the story behind that, but this was on Capitol, as were all of the initial Hawaii Calls releases with Webley Edwards. And he assembled musicians that were performing in Waikiki. Some of them already had, careers, or they were known here. And they're very, very good. The quality of the musicianship on these albums is excellent. And the arrangements are beautiful. These albums, all of them that you'll see, are very iconic of Hawaiian music of the time period. Webley Edwards presents Hawaii Calls at Twilight, lovely cover. Aloha Sunset Land, Wailana, Blue Hawaii, Mauna Loa, Twilight in Hawaii. Here is an album called Waikiki by the Hawaii Calls Orchestra and Chorus. Most of them had nice, kind of clip art type of things on the back too. This one has a really, really wonderful version of a medley of Ama Ama Tomi Tomi. I really, really like that. Used to play that quite a bit on the radio. My Waikiki Girl. I mean, just pick a song. Pick any song off of these albums. They're all really beautiful, really iconic. Hula Island Favorites. This picture, I believe, was taken at the old International Marketplace. Which, by the way, the new International Marketplace, I think we all know if you're into Hawaii or following things here at all, was actually torn down last year. A very sad thing. But they are building a new International Marketplace, which is going to be very different from the old one, more upscale and whatever, but still, if change is going to happen, it's going to happen. So I look forward to seeing what they're doing, because they're getting close to being done with it. You can't. This camera will not focus right. I don't know, but anyway, Hukilao, Little Brown Gal, Blue Moo is on this one, Sea Breeze. Again, beautiful album, can't go wrong. I mean, if you're looking to get into Hawaiian music, I always recommend these Hawaii Calls albums if you see them anywhere, at thrift stores, record shops, eBay, wherever. They're plentiful. I mean, you do see them around. Hawaii Calls Greatest Hits. And by the way, this is not a compilation of earlier material. These are like different recordings. They were known for, you know, they would record a song several times different ways. So these were all new recordings at the time this album came out. King Serenade, Blue Hawaii, Sweet Leilani, Beyond the Reef. Beautiful arrangements. And then they followed that up later, several years later. I think this is not in order, but more Hawaii Calls Greatest Hits. This was one of the records I had when I was quite young. So it was really my introduction to Hawaii Calls. And I always loved this album, and I still love it. Beautiful songs, The Windward Side, Heavenly Islands, 7 Days in Waikiki. Many of the songs feature the full chorus on these albums. Some of them will feature a certain person, like Haunani Kahalewai or Alfred Apaka or somebody else, a soloist, Hua Almeida. Now, when Exotica was popular, they did get into Exotica a little bit with a couple of albums. One we'll show next time, and this one with Martin Denny, Arthur Lyman, all that kind of exotic bird call music and tiki lounge stuff. This album, this was one of their responses to it. Hawaii Calls Fire Goddess, with a very famous cover on this one. And this album, you know, maybe it's not for everybody, but it does veer off of what they usually do somewhat. But wow, I love this album. I think it's beautiful and really interesting. And they did some interesting things. For example, the Aiala o Pele is the fire goddess, the Pele chant, which they do a version of that's just most interesting, really, really interesting. And they took a lot of songs and made just not common arrangements of them. The Knife Dance, which is Napahi and Hola e Pae, or the 5 o'clock hula, which has nothing to do with knives, but they have the sound of like the knife dance going to that. Sharkskin Drums, I love. It's drumming mixed in with a couple of very beautiful Hawaiian steel guitar songs that have nothing to do with the drumming, but yeah, Thoughts of Love, Ipo Le Manu or Mana'o He Aloha. That's a beautiful, beautiful version of that song, featuring Haunani Kahalewai. Chant of the Islands. I mean, this album was very creative. They used listing of all the exotic instruments they used in this album. This is one that I, highly recommend to you. It's not exactly typical of Hawaii Calls, but it's very interesting, and you'll hear arrangements of songs in ways that you would not normally hear them. Great album. Webley Edwards presents the Hawaii Calls Show. This is a deluxe album, fold out, gatefold I should say. Great art on the back there. And this is a nice album also, and it's all live recordings from their radio show. So there's audience applause and all of that. But this album is really beautiful, I think, for the pictures on the inside. Beautiful photographs. There is Mr. Edwards. I don't think I've shown him. That's Webley Edwards, the man responsible for all of this. Yeah, beautiful pictures. They had started, they did a couple pilots for a television show for Hawaii Calls, but I don't think it ever aired, ever really took off. And I know that Webley Edwards had said, I've seen a few of them. These are some of the artists that were recording with him. I know he also was quoted as saying he didn't really want a lot of television because he felt like the visual would kind of spoil the the reality or whatever. It's like, you know, a lot of this stuff is sort of dreamy and imaginary, and you know, you don't want to, not imaginary, but it's, how do I explain it? Well, anyway, you know, that you wouldn't necessarily want to, you know, for example, like, here's the beautiful waterfall and we can film this, but then, you know, maybe you don't realize that it's probably on the grounds of a hotel, I think is what he was saying. So it would kind of ruin that. Let's sing with Hawaii Calls. These were pretty simple arrangements on this one because it was designed for you to sing along with them. And these were some of the most well-known songs, and then if you open it up on the inside, it has the lyrics to all of the songs, because the intention is that you sing along. My Little Grass Shack, Lovely Hula Hands, On the Beach at Waikiki, mostly songs that people kind of knew at that time anyway. So let's listen to some samples. I hope you all enjoyed that, and please stick around for the next edition because we have more Hawaii Calls albums to go. They did like a lot of records. If you like this kind of music, I would also invite you to check out my site on, or my station, it's kind of a station, I don't know, on 8tracks.com called Hawaiian Leisure Hour, and there I have selections from the record collection and playlists that you can listen to, so you might enjoy that. And I also have a YouTube channel called Hawaiian Leisure Hour also, which features selections from my collection. Thanks for watching, and I hope you're well. We'll see you next time.